I'm Anen. My mentor is Rory. So I'm writing a book called Martian Girl, and the characters are all messed up, just like people are in reality. And that's why books are so great. They're just like reality. This is the prologue of my book and the tipping point for my character's sanity. Multiverse. So, can anyone tell me what scale is? The teacher, Miss Yoon, asked from the front of the room. She flipped her black hair over her shoulder and smiled at the room full of second graders. She was a nice teacher. All the kids loved her. She would always be Alex's favorite. Anyone? She asked. Stacy shouted without waiting to be called on. I've got one in the bathroom. My mom stands on it and she says she's fat. The classroom laughs. No, Stacy, Miss Yoon said with a smile. This is a different kind of scale. In math or science, when you compare the size of one thing to another, you use a scale to show it. The way of comparing size relative to something else. She wrote the words scale, size, and relative on the chalkboard and turned to the class. Can someone define any of these words using their own? Alex raised his hands. Size is how big something is. Yes. She smiled and wrote what he said on the board. Just how big, Alex? Or how big or small? I guess how big or small. She turned and continued to write. What about the other two? Relatives are your family, Harold called from the back of the room. Harold always smelled of cheese. Not in this case. Here, relative is when you base your comparison from a feature of one thing to another. Like relative to Porky, she points to the class guinea pig, Porky. I'm really big. You compare my size to Porky's. That's also scale. Now, can anyone think of any other examples? The class met her question with blank stares. Okay, then I'll tell you another one. Compared to Porky, I'm big, but compared to this building, I'm small. Compared to Porky, this building is really big, but compared to the state we live in, the building is small. Get it? Now, compared to America, this building is tiny, but compared to the size of the Earth, America is small. Now, you guys know all your planets, right? Which is the biggest? Miss Yoon searched the array of children and called on Craig. Jupiter. Very, very good, Craig. Compared to Jupiter, Earth is small, but compared to the sun, Jupiter is tiny, tiny, tiny. All the planets in the universe called the Milky Way, like the candy bar! Like the candy bar, she repeated. Now, the Milky Way is like a house for all the planets. They all live there. Compared to the Milky Way, the sun is super small, like the size of an ant to us. There's this thing called the multiverse, which you don't have to remember. The multiverse is like a city of universes. Compared to the multiverse, we're so small we barely exist. If you were the size of the multiverse, your pinky toe would be millions and millions of times bigger than the Earth, the Sun, or even the Milky Way. We're so tiny and irrelevant we don't matter. Even if we didn't exist, no one would care or notice. Even if you grew up to be the president, you still wouldn't make any disruption or disturbance in the multiverse because your size is so minuscule. You could die and it wouldn't make any difference. The classroom was full of blank stares and scared faces. But then the bell rang and the kids ran out to recess, except Alex. He walked slowly and solemnly. He went outside and watched his best friend Greg play from near the gate, yet replaying the class in his mind again. You could die and it wouldn't make any difference. You could die and it wouldn't make any difference. He ran over to the sandbox and lay in it, looking up at the sky. He never thought about how small he was or how far away from everything he was. He always thought that when he got to his dad's height, he'd be able to reach to the clouds and pull the moon out of the sky for his mother like his dad used to do. But now, even if he did, it wouldn't matter because there are bigger and more important things out there, but he'll never be able to do them because he was so small. And now, he really knew it. He wasn't just smaller than the fourth graders who came out to the playground the last 10 minutes of recess, but too small to ever do anything or amount to anything. He wished he could go up to his dad and tell him that when he pulls the moon out of the sky, he's not doing anything. It's not a big deal and it doesn't make a difference. So he just lay in the sand and looked up at the sky and cried. He didn't care they looked like a baby because he was never going to amount to anything but a baby because he was too small to be important. Mrs. Yoon was a dangerous teacher. That was part of why he liked her so much.